And we're live. Welcome to ESC Fan TV. This is our very first live show. ESC Fan TV is a new channel set up by the fans for the fans. This is for you to have your voice on all matters Eurovision. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting us. My name's Stuart Wilders. I'm joined today by Martin from Let Me Be the One.
Hi.
We've got Michelle.
Good evening.
And we've got Ness.
Hi.
And we're going to get into all sorts of topics about Eurovision shortly. But firstly, let's talk about Eurovision that's just been. Lisbon 2018 in May this year. What a fantastic Eurovision it was. Sun, sea and sangrias all round. Martin, what are your thoughts on Eurovision gone by?
Well, it's my first ever one there. So it's sort of a special one. I managed to get tickets for every live show in the evening. So I was able to see it all from the beginning to the end, from being in the premium, the Golden Circle bit on the Monday night, all the way through to obviously a Saturday night when you had What Happened to Suri. I was right at the back, seeing that more or less on the TV screens. But yeah, it was a great event. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed Lisbon. Did all the touristy bits in the morning, did all the shows in the evening. So it's all quite hectic. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Probably the best person won. I mean, Eleni for Cyprus surprised me from the beginning of the week, but when I saw the first rehearsal on the jury semi-final one, you just thought, well, this is going to do better than I thought it was, and obviously it did. I was pleased for Caesar Sampson as well, but winning the jury vote, because it probably was the best, singer, vocalist for me. But yeah, it was a great event, and obviously it's so great. I'm going back to doing it all again next year in Tel Aviv. So,
Michelle, your thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. It was just a few a few peeves about it, but I thought overall it was a really enjoyable experience. I was a bit disappointed with the what's it called, Phil? I can't remember what you call it, with the outdoorsy bit.
Eurovision Village.
The Euro Village, yeah. It was just things like, it was really hot. There wasn't a lot of shade. You couldn't take your sun cream in. And there was massive queues at the bar. You've got people wanting to spend money and you were struggling being able to spend your money.
What was your complaint in that order, Michelle? I'll just clarify that.
It was definitely sunscreen and bar. Sunscreen and bar, definitely.
And Ness, what about yourself?
It may sound a bit trite. So it was my third Eurovision. Third? Yeah. So Vienna, Stockholm, missed Kiev, and then Lisbon. So I've got a bit of compare and contrast now. For me, I totally agree, Michelle. The queues for the bars were ridiculous. And quite frankly, after being quite close to the stage when Suri had the chap go up and interrupt the performance, it was really upsetting actually. And what do you think when a chap goes onto a stage with a rucksack? You kind of think the worst, don't you? That's end of days. So Katie and I headed straight for the bar. Had to wait 20 minutes for a shot of vodka to steady our nerves. So definitely bar arrangements were not good. And it's not about necessarily the drinking. I don't think any of the Eurovision fans that I know, drink completely excessively, but you have a drink and you enjoy the performances. Some performances, like Moldova, for example, actually get better with a bit of drink. So that was an issue for me. And also I got the same peeves with the staging. So everywhere I went, there was either some kind of camera crane interrupting my view, or the TV screens were at the wrong angle, so you felt like you got whiplash after looking up at the scores. So I think compared to some of the other places that I've been to, it was good in some respects. I think the sound was pretty good, the acoustics in the arena. But for me, honestly, the highlight was the up close and personal performances at the Hard Rock Cafe on the Thursday night that we got to go to, where Eleni and Bulgaria performed, so Bones performed. So that was excellent. That was really good.
And so I mean, it was a fantastic show for me. I mean, I think for me, just the experience of the whole stadium. You know, we were there for the whole week. It was such a wonderful event. But did the right winner win? Martin, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it wasn't my favourite, but yes, I think overall it probably was the right winner. It was great. She's got a great voice. You know, no matter whether you like the chicken noises or the clucking, whatever. She's a great vocalist. It was a good show. It was all put together well, and it improved because on the jury semi-final it was all quite messy, but by the final it really shone through. I think Alini was pretty good. I mean, you know, that she's not the best vocalist in the world, but that was a really damn good show. You know, stage show. I think probably my favourite was Austria with Caesar Sampson, but then it was sort of a bit, you know, nondescript, the staging. So I think in the end that's probably was the right person to win it anyway. You know, and it means to go to a country that we've not been to for 20 years anyway. Disappeared.
And what about yourself, Michelle?
Well, I wasn't too keen on Netta. It's just a bit, I don't know, just a bit gimmicky, and I really liked Austria. I really liked it, and it is a song contest at the end of the day. And I think everyone needs to pare down the staging so that we can see the person who is singing, and you know, sort of understand it a bit better and we don't seem to get to know the artists either. They just sort of, all the same ones go to all the same sort of things, and it's like the UK don't go to anything. You never see the representative from the UK anywhere during the whole week. And I think we just need to pare it back a bit. It's all getting a bit silly now. I mean, the woman from Cyprus was the shiniest person that I've ever seen in my life, and she was all just a bit too Beyonce. And you can't. You remember the outfit and you remember the dancing, but you don't necessarily remember the song too much.
It's all the bananas that she eats. That's why she's got a shining face.
Yeah, it's like Australia. You only remember her for dancing. You don't remember the song.
Oh, I remember her.
For the dancing.
Just putting that out there. She's locked up in my mind.
Bless her.
Her and her fifes. What about yourself, Ness? What are your thoughts?
No, forgive me because I might get my years mixed up, but was it Lie to Me?
Lie to Me, Czech Republic, yeah.
Yeah. Now that one really grew on me.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I also felt that Caesar Sampson was absolutely the strongest singer, you know, and really captivated the audience, actually. It felt really uplifting when he was singing, even though the song wasn't particularly poppy, you know, like fast beat or anything upbeat. Netta, I remember Katie and I just basically texting each other because we listened to the album as we all do, you know, 3-4 weeks before, and you know the songs from YouTube, but we did do the WTF text to each other. You know, that's our initial reaction to Netta. It was like, honestly, and I think in recovery from such a political song previously, you know, that won Kiev its place to host last year, I think it was almost like I really wanted a good song, a well-written and well-performed song to win, and it didn't feel like Netta's was, you know, crafted in quite the same way as some of the other entries, if I'm honest. It's just my opinion.
So looking at the results on the night, so the jury vote: first Austria, second Sweden, third Israel, fourth Germany, fifth Cyprus. When you compare that with the televote, first Israel, second Cyprus, third Italy, fourth Czech Republic, Lie to Me, and fifth Denmark. So only 2 songs made both top 5s, Israel and Cyprus. Is it time that we get rid of the televote?
Yes. Can trust the general public?
Can we trust the general public to pick the right Eurovision top 5? Martin?
I think you're always going to find the right winner eventually, and you hope most years it's both sides come to the same decision. And we have had recent, I can't remember who's been the most recent, where you've had, I mean, obviously Jamala wasn't the most popular with both or either, was she? I think she was second with both. So as long as they're within the top three, I don't mind. And yes, you've got to let the televoters have a go. The EBU is always going to have the televoters doing it because it gives them money, doesn't it? So they're going to get money in from all the voting, and people then feel involved with actually having a say in who wins the Eurovision Song Contest, rather than what you had, decades ago when it was just a load of, well, basically the professionals just choosing, and you just watched it as a TV show. It depends on whether you want us as the general public to be inclusive in the whole process or not. I mean, it's always going to be arguments the other way. Should there be a jury vote? Because obviously that's what Turkey left, or part of the reason why Turkey left. It's people always want to have their say and say, why have we got 5 professionals from each country dictating half the vote? Where, maybe there should be more jurors or more televote percentage. I don't know. So
I mean, are they better informed than us as mere fans, do you think?
They should be, but it's all humanity and subjectiveness, isn't it? It's like, go back to when you had Slavic girls for Poland, and you had the UK jury, and 2 of the female jurors put them bottom just purely because of the staging, how it's staged, which is fair enough, how they want to, but it's subjective. They've done that not for a musical reason. They've done that because they don't like the staging, and they put it right down the bottom. Should that be? I don't know. But it's, you would hope that they would go, well, that's like Caesar Sampson. That sounds really good. So that's why a lot of jurors actually went for him as top this year, and that's would show why that's number one. But there's always going to come down to, we're all human likes and dislikes, and some people would like the good song, and some people would like the best stage one. So,
and Nessa, you were shaking your head there. So do you have a different opinion?
Do you know what? I think it's about education. Forgive me for sounding like the government, and how to teach us, what to do. But the issue I have about the televote is that the vast majority of the millions of people who watch it would only have heard those songs once. I know there is a growing fan base that listens to the songs over and over, but this is, I always compare and contrast it to the first time I hear a new release from, I don't know, Ed Sheeran or Coldplay or, whoever. And it takes a few listens to get the song into your brain and to get it to whether you're going to like it or not. The issue I have is people are voting when, they're sitting at home and perhaps never heard these songs before. So that's what then brings in the whole performance aspect, where you then, they are stepping it up, with more fire or more costumes to try and make an impression, like a first impression. And then people don't really remember the songs. And we know how important it is about, we always capitulate really about, what position we're in as the UK, and whether that's a good position or, different TV stations will have breaks at different stages, and so there's so many variables that affect the televote that I think it would be fairer if the songs were released and promoted, not just the song for that country, but all the songs, and promoted as widely as possible. So it makes it a bit fairer.
And Michelle, what's your view on this?
Well, I think there's too many songs to be able to promote beforehand. That's the problem. If you're including the 2 semi-finals as well, sort of thing, there's just too many of them. But it was only about 5 years ago, I used to be one of the people that I deliberately didn't listen to any of the songs before the semis, so that I could vote the same as, like with the general public sort of thing. That was the first time that I would hear it. Phil would listen to them, but then you get a favourite and you might hear a song 10 times and then suddenly think, this is fantastic. But that's not what it's like on the night. On the night, it is, they hear the song and just vote on that. But I think you have to remember how stupid the average person is. I remember that half the people in the world are more stupid than that. And that's the way you need to look at it. Is that you're always going to get people that are just going to vote for the silly songs. I mean, this year, I quite like Hungry. It was slightly on the rocky side. I quite enjoyed it. It was a song about his dad, but nobody knows that. Yeah, nobody knows that. It's, you know, it's sort of everyone's going on about Netta and, oh, look at this, and I think it's massive publicity beforehand, and that's what swayed it for her. If you'd have heard that just as it was on the night and never heard it before, nobody would have voted for it. They'd have thought it was a joke. So I think you need to keep the public in.
And looking forward to looking ahead to Tel Aviv then. So what are our expectations for Israel in May next year, and what are we expecting to see from the Israelis in terms of a show as spectacular, Martin?
Well, I suppose it's quite early to say. Well, at least we know where the venue is. So, but what's that? At least half the size of the Altice Arena. So that's going to be compact. I know that it sounds they're going to have the show in one hall and then the green room in another. So it's probably going to be like the old days of 20 or 30 years ago. We had all the acts sitting around in a different room and a camera in the other room. And we don't really know much about the stage yet, although supposedly it's David, but that could be, we won't know that for a couple of months. It's obviously going to be different because it's, for most of people like us in the UK, it's going to be a long way away. Different traditions, different things going on in the area that Lisbon and the other ones, apart from Kiev, it's fairly stable cities, whereas Kiev and I suppose Tel Aviv probably a bit more similar in what's going on around them, like what happens in Israel with the political situation, and that there's supposedly wars or conflict going on nearby. So that will be different as well, but it will be a new experience for most people because most of us I've never travelled that far east. I know some of the older fans would have gone to Jerusalem in the late 90s. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be more secure than people think it will be, because I think the Israelis, a bit like the Ukrainians and a bit like Russians in Moscow, will make sure that it is. So I'm looking forward to it anyway. So
I think it'll be very safe. And the only thing that concerns me is the ticket issue. We think back to last year, there were 14,000 tickets sold, I think, for each of the shows. We're probably looking around 4,000 to 5,000 tickets per show for Israel. So that's a significant drop in the number of fans that will be watching the Eurovision final, semi-finals, even rehearsals. So, I mean, I guess the question is, did they pick the right venue? Could they have maybe gone off plan and thought about one of the new football stadiums? And, let's face it, it's going to be 30-degree heat. So, the thought of having Eurovision without a roof, could have been one that we might have considered. Michelle, what are your thoughts looking ahead to Tel Aviv? Are you excited at the prospect of going to Israel?
I am. I'm excited at the prospect of coming out of the Euro Club at 4 o'clock in the morning and having a kebab from the land where kebabs are invented.
Just 4.
But don't want to be too late. We've already Googled massive restaurants and bars, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. It's by the sea. It's going to be really, really hot. But I think the ticket issue, I think it's not going to be as bad as people think. It holds, is it 9,500? So with the staging, and if the green room's in a different place, I think you're going to get 8,000 tickets out of it for each show. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as everybody thinks. Plus, there's not a lot. There's a ton of people not going. So is there going to be the demand for tickets?
Well, if you cut down the amount of people going significantly, I mean, I think you're into sort of pretty high numbers of people not going. Then actually maybe you're on the same playing field as you were with Lisbon. But I don't understand why you wouldn't want to travel to Israel. Who doesn't love Eurovision, sun, sea, and songs? Who doesn't want that?
It looks fantastic.
I must admit, I am drawn by these hotels on a beach. It does look a little bit like somewhere far, far away that we can all enjoy for a week or two, in some cases. Ness, we're looking forward to Israel.
Yeah, Yeah, I just need to get permission to leave the house. But no, it's I did and ah about it, but I've put in for the ballot. I am slightly concerned about tickets. You know, I always pretty much rely on the ballot and whether I get through it. But yeah, if I don't, I am tempted to try and get tickets separately. But honestly, end of May or mid-end of May, you know, getting some sun, yeah, very nice. As for hosting, I don't know. I suppose my first thought was Judaism, you know, the Sabbath day is Saturday. So actually, I was really surprised that they did put the final on Saturday. So yeah, I don't know whether there'll be any. I think they're so westernized and pro having people visit, because Tel Aviv and Jerusalem are advertised on telly anyway, aren't they, as a place to go and holiday, that there probably won't be any issues. But I think it's just being mindful. I think sometimes the Eurovision crowd, we can be quite flamboyant and out there and be in the Euro Club until 4 a.m. And I just hope that we don't upset anybody, you know, and
Us?
be able to kind of blend what is traditional and culturally respectful with having an awesome party, if that makes sense.
Us upset anyone? Never.
Never.
But look who won last
Never
time
happens.
for them. I think they're quite broad-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look who won last time. I mean, it'd be fine. What's the worst that can happen?
Famous last words. So looking ahead to our own country, given there are 4 of us on the call and we're all from the United Kingdom, as far as I'm aware, over the last 5 years, it's fair to say the UK has fared indifferently between the juries and the televotes. So I'm looking here at the jury votes for the last 5 years. In 2014, we sent Molly with Children of the Universe. We received 47 points from the jury and we came 20th out of 26. A year later, we sent Electra Velvet. I don't think we will ever forget that in a hurry. We received 8 points from the jury, 23rd out of 27th. Isn't it strange that we managed to come 23rd? Just saying. We sent Joe and Jake the following year, 54 points, 17th. Lucy came 10th the year later with 99 points. And then Suri this year, sadly, 23rd. 23 points, sorry, 21st out of 26 places. Well, when you compare that to the televote, in 2014, where we came 20th in the juries, we came 22nd in the televote. Electra Velvet came 23rd with the juries, came 24th with the televote, so thereabouts. Joe and Jake came 17th with the jury and 25th out of 26th with the televote. Lucy came 10th with the jury and 20th out of 26th. And then this year, we came 20th out of 26th. So why does Europe hate UK so much? Martin, thoughts?
They don't hate us. It's just most of the time we don't send particularly good songs, do we, really? I mean, Molly, in a way, froze, I think, on the night in Copenhagen. Electra Velvet, that was just a complete nightmare. Too busy, just the wrong genre, bizarre. Joe and Jake, I think, nice guys, but their staging and how it looked had all been done before. I think Lucy, Joe, was the sort of one that probably should have done better. I mean, I think the jury's a bit like Caesar Sampson. The jury's picked up on the fact that she's a brilliant singer. She put a lot of effort in. It was great staging. It obviously didn't click with the televoters for whatever reason. Suri didn't have a particularly great performer, but didn't have a particularly memorable song. And so obviously both ends, I don't think it was a great song, probably as a professional to judge, because it didn't have a massive hook. It didn't have a pickup anywhere. So I think that's a lot of the reason why we're down near the bottom most of the years, is there seems to be something going right most years. I mean, the last 2 years we've had performers who can definitely perform, but just have had probably the wrong song. But Europe doesn't hate us. I think if we sent a decent, song, we could have, potentially we could have had Caesar Sampson this year. If we had him with the song, even if it had been arranged differently, I suspect we'd have done a lot better. So and a lot sometimes just comes down to luck. Yeah.
Well, we can always send Caesar salad. Just saying.
Yes.
Michelle.
Well, I was going to write a song, but I didn't get round to it. I was busy. So.
You mean you missed the O-Gay submission?
I was playing walking netball.
What does the UK need to do differently?
Well, I think we need to take it. The BBC needs to take it more seriously. They're paying a lot of money and not putting a lot of effort in. I mean, it's not even on BBC One. You know, it's getting daft now. They just sort of pick a couple of songs and go, right, you and you, off you go, and then it's just done in one evening. I mean, if you look at Sweden and Norway and things like that, the amount of effort that they put in, and the public get to participate as well in it. You can go and watch and vote, and they're all over the radio, they're all over the TV. Most of the people here don't even know who we're sending, and we need to put more effort in. I think at the minute, with the way that Europe feels about us, we could send Adele and we'd still come 23rd. It's just one of those things. I think Europe thinks that we don't take it seriously as well. That's the opinion that I've got talking to people in Portugal. They just think that we don't take it seriously, and I don't think we do. The BBC needs to sort it out.
Nessa, so we send Adele. Do we come last or come 23rd, as Michelle suggests?
Yeah, I think with the breaking news tonight, with the cabinet, I honestly, I think it's 50-50 in my opinion, political, and 50% it's usually a shocking song. I remember distinctly this lady, Austrian lady, coming up to me at the front of the stage in Vienna and going, that is such a great song. You know, I can't do the accent, but, you know, she was really enthused about Electro Velvet. And I just looked at her as if to say, are you drunk? Are you insane? You know, and I was like, oh, yes, it's great. Yeah, danke. I was like, what? I was like, I wanted to run away to the toilet when they were on. But obviously the patriotic part of me was actually, no, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to get all enthused about it. And I think it does bring out the passion, but we need an Ed Sheeran or an Adele or you know, Jessie J, is it? Or all these modern singers, I don't really know. But we need them to collaborate and do a really good song. And I think it needs to be an upbeat song. I'm kind of a bit fed up with ballads, to be honest with you. Yeah. And as for the BBC, I probably should keep my opinions quiet about the BBC. But yeah, there's been a shift, you know, in you know, who's going to be running this show now, you know, in terms of with choosing songs and things like that. I think a change is always as good as a holiday, isn't it? Change is as good as a holiday. So
you're right. We've seen Helen Riddell is out.
Yeah,
she's left her post as head of delegation. Rachel Ashdown is in, and what's quite significant here is Rachel's now a member of the EBU reference group.
Oh, excellent.
So it seems that the BBC, or certainly Rachel, is getting more involved in the whole planning of Eurovision. Hopefully that rubs off on the UK selection. Martin, I'll give you sort of final point on this. What's your views or hopes for the UK selection next year?
Well, as you say, there's new people. There's also a new music consultant who I've chatted with over the last couple of years, Greg Watts, and he's an A&R man for his firm. So his job's always to be placing songs with artists. So hopefully that might get better, because of course what we forget is a lot of the time is that you get all these songs submitted, but then it's no good if they get put with the wrong people, because we had Legends this year for the UK national final, and when you heard it on the radio, thought, wow, that's amazing, this is doing really well, and they put a lot of effort behind that song, more than any of the others. But then it was sung by Asanda, and they gave her this routine to do that she couldn't dance, and she got out of breath. It sounded awful live. Whereas it's just little things like that, you know, if that had clicked, we would have had a different song. We wouldn't have had Storm that had no real hook, no real connection with the audience. but we'd have had this really modern sounding song that could have done something different. And maybe that's what we need to do this year, is send somebody like AWS from Hungary with Screamo, send, maybe not have that, or opera, something outlandish, something out there, because it's not going to be any worse than in the bottom 5 that we're getting at the moment. We might as well go down in a blaze of glory doing something different than just sending the same old stuff we send year after year. So.
Can I just say, actually, on Asander and Legends, for those of us lucky enough to go to the Wee Wee Jam party in Lisbon, the writer of that song, and also one of the songs in the Swedish Melody Festival and final, wrote both of those songs and sang them both at the Wee Wee Jam. And I've got to say, she was excellent. And that's a good example of a songwriter writing a song that they're comfortable singing and not being able to sing it. And she would have been perfectly good singing for the UK. The Legend song. It was a bit of a shame because she also probably had the right look and charisma to be able to pull it off. So to your point, Martin, I think sometimes we're quite keen to sort of shoehorn a singer and a song, pull them together, and then that's good enough. And I suspect, another good example of that is probably Syrian Storm, as we've said.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting at the Eurobash when she was saying that actually she felt that she was the filler for the UK national final, and that they put her in as the 6th artist, and that they had even the press office had got all the press releases set up for somebody else to win, and that she said as soon as they saw her perform, they all went, "Oh, we better change something," because it was obvious she was going to win.
Yeah. I wonder who they thought was going to win.
Well, yeah.
Legends, maybe.
Yeah, quite possibly.
So I guess we will wait and see. I think the UK final will be February time, as always. There's lots of rumours about Manchester. Interestingly, there's a gentleman, Lee Smithhurst, who was involved with the BBC some time ago, the year Jade Ewing took part, and he's back involved again from a show point of view. So I'm quite encouraged by some of these changes that are taking place. So fingers crossed. As a UK fan, I want us to do well. Yes, I'd like Adele to take part. I'd love Sam Smith to take part. The chances, we know it's not going to happen. So I think we've kind of just got to be happy with what we've got. Quite honestly, I was really proud with Suri, and I was really proud with Lucy. I was really proud with Joe and Jake and plenty others. Electra Velvet might be pushing it, however. But I think we've taken leaps forward the last 2-3 years. And
nice people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the last couple of years, I mean, they are great people, by the way, Electra Velvet, just in case they see this.
Really nice people. Yeah, they are.
They are, but I think the song was not great. And the last 3 years we've certainly bounced back, but clearly we haven't gone far enough. So I'd like to move on to Sweden. So Sweden, I started to talk about the Melody Festival, and again, it's a massive show in Sweden. Everybody watches that. Most people across the Eurovision world also watch it. It's a big Saturday night extravaganza, starting in February and ending some point in March. But over the last few years, the Swedish televote at Eurovision has nosedived. In 2014, they sent Sanna Nilsson, who came 3rd in the televote. They then sent Måns Zelmerlöw. We know what happened there. Franz was 2016. He came 6th. And this is where it all started to go wrong for Sweden. In 2017, they sent Robin Benson with I Can't Go On, and that finished 8th. And then this year, we know what happened. They finished 23rd in the televote, despite finishing 2nd in the jury vote with Benjamin Ingrosso's dance classic, as some refer to do.
Dance you up.
Dance You Off, yeah.
Oh, is that what he said? Oh,
Dance.
I thought it was wank you off. Oh.
So I ask a question. Are Eurovision fans bored of Sweden? Michelle, what are your thoughts there?
Oh my goodness! I actually watched Melodifesten for the first time last year. Oh, and it was shocking. They had some absolute shockers. It's like bananas and cabanas, and what was going on? I think they just don't want it back for a while. I think that's what it is. It costs a lot of money, and but when it was in Sweden, we went to Sweden. We went to a lot of like pubs on the way to stadiums and stuff, and the people there were like going, oh, they're sick of it. You're like, oh, you're one of them, and it was like, oh right. I thought everybody in Sweden loved it, but I think they just want a rest. They're sending adequate, but not winners. So I think that's what it is. I don't think they want it back for a few years.
How would you feel though if the UK sent Dance You Off?
I think it would do better than Surrey, you know. But I mean, you remember it. Everybody remembers it, but you don't necessarily, you know, remember Surrey's. It's got, you know, you need something catchy about it. You remember the dance, you know. You remember the creepy young boy winking at you and thinking, oh, that's wrong on so many levels. It's memorable, and that's what we need. We need something memorable. The last time we had something memorable was Lucy's face. She was gurning, like she was in some sort of weird competition to, you know, strangest faces. But nobody remembers the song.
Do you remember the fireworks going off behind her, poor girl?
No, because I was too busy looking at her going, ooh, yeah. She looked like Les Dawson.
But I thought when you let fireworks off, you're supposed to have, you know, a few hundred yards, aren't you? They seem to let them off right behind her.
Were they very close? Oh, goodness me, they weren't close enough for my liking.
Ness, is the Eurovision fans, are the Eurovision fans bored of Sweden? What's going on? How can they finish second in the jury and 23rd with a televote?
Okay. All I can say about Sweden is don't charge me £12 for a gin and tonic, okay? And that's a single, okay? Quite frankly, I'm bored of Sweden, okay? And I didn't manage to get into the ABBA Museum. So, no, Stockholm was great in general. But, I think they've done so well, you know, in the last 10 to 15 years, you know, over the period of time, that it is time to let it go. What I want to see is, you know, Iceland, Finland, some of the countries that did just continually, for whatever reason, don't make the final. And yet, actually, their entries are pretty good. And I'd quite like to go to a Nordic country for Eurovision, but not Sweden or Denmark, because I can't afford to go there, really. You know, I don't know. Sweden are good at what they do, but equally, I watched the French and the German selection finals this year, and I was very impressed with some of their entries. So, you know, and I think we haven't really mentioned France, but I really liked Mercy as a song, and I really liked the sentiment and the meaning and the political message it was bringing across. Again, just my opinion. But it's interesting, isn't it, that Jamala won for the Ukraine with that kind of political song, but something that is a current issue that, you know, that impacts upon us all didn't win. And I just think that's really indicative of, you know, the audience, and like Michelle's point about, you know, the comedic effect, or, you know, where it's a gimmicky performance. So yeah, as for Sweden, you know, write the songs. They can write some really good songs, but hand them out to Europe, you know, fairly and share them out.
And Martin, we finished that point with you. What's your view on Sweden? Where are they going wrong? What do they need to do differently?
I'm probably one of the few people who doesn't actually watch Melody Festival, and I tend to end up watching whatever else is on that night. So is, you know, the Danish national final or the Norwegian national final, because there always seems to be something else on at the same time. It's surprising, because you would think that all their songs would appeal to the general public rather than jurors, you know, with Benjamin Grosso on his lighting rig and Robert Bengston on the treadmills. You'd have thought that would have been, you know, the public would have lapped that up rather than the jurors. So, you know, it's difficult to say. But yeah, I agree with Michelle that this last year's Melody Festival, I'm just seeing who was in it. Benjamin was miles better than anybody else, just purely because most of the others weren't particularly that good. They're all fairly low standard, really. I think they'll probably get back into the winning ways. I think Christy Biltman's got another couple of years before he gives up Melody Festival and then probably ends up being Jon Ola Sand's replacement. So I suspect he'll probably just want Sweden to win once more, coincide it for when he becomes the big boss at the EBU. So give it a couple of years, they'll be back.
And I'll share something with you. Benjamin Ingrosso, I Dance You Off, sorry, was probably my favourite going into the Eurovision final. So I was really surprised. Really surprised. Not surprised with the jurors. Clearly, I have the same level of taste.
It was creepy. He was creepy. He was creepy. Really creepy.
Yeah, and can I just say his park bench that he was walking up and down on? I saw that the other day. I think he's left it somewhere in Hampshire.
I thought you were going to say it's in your back garden.
If I could have lifted it and moved with it and not get arrested, I would have done so. Every
time he winks at you, Stuart.
Okay, final topic for this evening is the Asia Vision or Eurovision Asia Song Contest, expected to take place between November the 30th and December the 7th, 2019. So it's about a year or so away. The first ever Eurovision Asia Song Contest to be held in the Gold Coast in Australia, which will contain a number of different countries, 15 in total so far confirmed. One of those countries, of course, is the host nation, Australia. So I ask you, should Australia be able to take place in this year's upcoming Eurovision Song Contest in May, as well as host the first ever Asia Vision Song Contest? Martin, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'd probably say yes, because strictly speaking, there'll be different Eurovision years, because obviously this year will be for 2019. Whereas the Asia Vision will be in the 2020 season. So I think they're obviously going to let Australia be in this year, just keep it going. And obviously the EBU want the continuity. And then I suspect they'll just see whether Australia want to continue doing our version or just concentrate on theirs. The other thing is it's not going to be, at the moment, it's not going to be every year, the Eurovision Asia one. It's going to be every 4 years, I think. So therefore, if it was every year, I'm probably sure the Australians would probably go, yeah, we'll just stick with the one that's over here. But of course, because all of what they sing is going to be in English, they'll probably, and they put money in towards ordinary Eurovision, they're going to be here. I've got no problem with Australia being in it. I never have really. And some of the artists they sent at the beginning, obviously the Guy Sebastian and the Damien, you thought, wow, these are brilliant. It's just the Isaiah Firebrace and Jessica Moorboy. She's a good singer, but not when she's dancing as well. And it'll be interesting to see what we get out of their national final, to see whether they go back up to their first 2 years or whether they drift away, really. I think if they didn't qualify for the final, then you might find the Australian public might say, why are we going the other side of the world? We'll just stick with the ones we do our own commentary.
Now, I rewatched Jessica Mauboy's final performance only yesterday, and I don't think it's half as bad as what people have made out. Can I just say, though, she has got some amazing auntie pissed at a disco moves. Absolutely fantastic. But I don't think she was half as bad as people were saying she was. Michelle, Australia, should Eurovision kick them out?
They're not in Europe and they're not in Asia. They're just doing. There'll be an American extreme one there. Yes, leave them. Let them do what they want. It makes no difference, does it? As long as the song that they use for the Asia Vision isn't the same one as they use for Eurovision, it doesn't. It doesn't really matter, does it? No,
Ness.
I'm not fussed. Yeah, they can be in it.
Ness. Should the UK join the Asia Vision Song Contest on the same basis?
Yeah. Yeah, we need help. We need to just go wherever we can. Antarctica. Can we get a North Pole and South Pole Eurovision going?
We'll get by a penguin.
Yeah. In all seriousness, I mean, Australia, it's lovely to know that there's such a sort of following over there for Eurovision. And I've never had a problem, apart from when the light bulb exploded and I had no idea when Guy Sebastian sang in Vienna. It was like, the bit at the end when the light bulb, in the lamp exploded, and I was like, I'm going to have a heart attack. But apart from that, I have no issues with Australia. And I really liked Jessica, but I'm probably biased because she had a pizza in the same pizzeria as me, so I just sidled up to her and sort of interrupted her lunch. But yeah, Australia are fine. They've got a big enough country to almost cut it in two, so you could have top Northern Territory, you know, will do Asia Vision, and then the Southern Territory can do Eurovision. How about that?
So can I just add something to that? You just mentioned about Jessica Malboy eating a pizza.
Yeah.
This was clearly a Eurovision of experiences for you, because didn't you catch Jon Ola Sand in a chemist?
Yes, yeah, I did. Hello.
What was he buying in a chemist?
Yeah, and I just popped in for some paracetamol. No, it was. I genuinely had a big cough, and I gave it to everybody else I shared the apartment with. And I just literally, I walked in. We were going to the pizzeria place, or walking back down the shops in the front of the Altis, and I walk in, and he's the only other person in the pharmacy.
What was he buying?
He's a lovely chap. I shan't tell the viewing audience what he bought. Keep that between us. Yeah.
But it was enough for you to vacate the premises so you could have a little bit of privacy. Wink, wink.
Yeah. When he said, "Hello, how are you?" I went, "I'm fine. I'm just going to give you a bit of space, John." And then,
Okay, so
British, calling him John rather than Yon. You know, your name's John.
I think Vince is on a list. You're on a list now.
So before we go, the final, I said the final point before, but there is one other thing. Tel Aviv next year, we are going to be missing one country in particular that has really taken Eurovision by storm. Certainly over the last couple of years with Polly and Bones. I forget their names. Someone help me out with their Equinox. Thank you very much. Bulgaria, no Bulgaria in 2019. And given their recent statement, it's also dubious as to whether we may see them back in 2020. Ness, Bulgaria. Is Bulgaria a miss for Eurovision?
Jay from Equinox offered me and Kenzie a date at the Chinese just down from the Altis. It was an amazing time in Lisbon, really. Lovely chap. Even stopped to give me an extra hug when he was going to the green room. That was cool. Anyway, liked Equinox a lot. I really love, having seen Polly at Eurobash, you know, oh my gosh, she's amazing. Bulgaria are so strong. For them to leave now is heartbreaking, really, because I know it's such a small country and it's really difficult. And in fact, you know, I know some Latvian people and Croatian people, and they also say the same thing. They love Eurovision, but their country's economies just can't seem to support, you know, the EBU and, you know, the fees and all of that. So I'm really sad about it. But didn't this happen with Israel, and then Israel popped back? You know, it's like, and Romania got fined, didn't they? But then they came back next year. So I don't know. If I win 70 million on the Euro Millions, I'll give them a few million to pay the fees, and then take Jay out for a Chinese.
Michelle, did Bulgaria pay their way to victory over the last couple of years?
Oh, bless them. I really like Bulgaria this year. They look like the baddies out of the Superman film. I thought they were brilliant. But I think the problem with Eurovision is it costs so much money to organise, and it shouldn't cost that much. It's a song contest. They need to pare everything back. But I think you shouldn't be paying to, you know, like we do to enter it. You shouldn't be paying. And it's only £1 a pint in Bulgaria. So I'm a big fan of Bulgaria should be in it. And I think maybe if they did, you know, like, because Portugal said that they were doing it on the cheap, and it wasn't really done on the cheap. You know, it was just slightly different. But I think they could have pared it back even more and saved more money. And I think the problem is that it's got so big, and it's so sort of, it's like a juggernaut, and it's out of control. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just rolling and gathering more people and more money in, that we just need to say, somebody just needs to go, stop, look at it, right, we're going to do this, this and this. And it's like the woman with the dress. I forget her name, who said, I'm not going to sing unless I've got a 60 grand dress on. And it's like, you should make them all wear a sack and sing, and then see how they like it, and then they stop moaning. It's it's extortionate. You know, you need to have a limit. Your country can only spend X amount of money on staging, and that's what needs to be done. And then the poorer countries will be able to participate, and the countries that have got shed loads of money will have to pare it back. There should be a maximum spend.
Yeah.
And Martin, final point from you on Bulgaria. Are they a miss for the upcoming Eurovision?
Well, for me, yes, because I think they were one of the only countries now who actually look as though they wanted to win it rather than just be there. Like the UK just seems to want to be there, the BBC, whereas I got the feeling that BNT really, really wanted to put in an effort and win it. They obviously had, it seems they only had that 3-year plan, but the fact before Polly, they'd only ever got to the final once. They can be really proud of being there 3 years in a row and getting the 4th, a second, and what did Equinox get? Sort of 14, 12, can't remember what it was in the end. But they're all 14, but it was distinctive songs. And it's a shame they're not going to be there. But any good thing that might happen is that, of course, that some of these singers might be available for another country, as Polly was saying at Eurobash. But, you know, that would be beyond my wildest dreams if Polly ended up being able to sing for the UK. But it's not likely to happen, is it really?
Well, she did say that she'd written a song for Eurovision, and then the news broke a few days later that Bulgaria will be withdrawing. So if she still has aspirations to sing in 2019, maybe.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it just?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just? Although, again, you know, you get excited about a singer rather than a song, and I've always been of the opinion it starts with the song. And then this, you know, you just hope you've got a decent singer and decent performer, but without the song, then you haven't got much. As has been proved right with Dana International returning to Eurovision with Ding a Dong, which was a complete travesty.
Ding a Dong.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, thank you all for joining us. And thank you to those that have been watching on ESC Fan TV. This has been our first broadcast ever. Thank you to Martin from Let Me Be the One.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you to Michelle.
Hiya.
Thank you to Ness.
Danke, Tag. Merci. Good. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I'd like to thank everyone that's watched and those that will watch this at a later catch up. The video will be available on ESC Fan TV Facebook page. You can access that via www.escfantv.com. We're also going to turn this into a podcast, which we hope to put on all the relevant media in the next few days, which you'll be able to download, listen to on your way to work or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Please like our page. Please also like our YouTube channel. If you click the little bell, it means you get updates as to when we're going to go live again. At this moment in time, we are thinking about having another live show the Sunday, the 25th of November, which for those in the know will know it's the Junior Eurovision Song Contest. So we're planning to have a show after the show. All there is left to say is thank you very much for joining us, and we will hope to see you very, very soon. Bye for now.